What's up, guys? Welcome back to another post-commentary duel video. Today we've got Invoked Mech Knight post-ban list versus Invoked Chaos Shaddoll, or Mech Knight Chaos Shaddoll. I said it wrong again. But yeah, this is a new Shaddoll variant that I threw together inspired by the new list. Wanting to play more of a pure sort of Shaddoll build. I know a lot of people are thinking about splashing as an engine, but I decided to try to sort of take it back to its original form when a lot of people are playing Chaos Shaddoll and sort of modernize it, if you will, with the Mech Knight engine, and I think it works pretty well so far. It does have some issues. There's room for improvement. But yeah, hopefully you guys enjoy this matchup. Also, don't forget to check out Imperium Duelist, providing some amazing sleeves and playmats and things of that nature. You can check out that code in the description for more information. You can save 10% and things of that nature. Of course, we are post-ban list, so there's no Brilliant Fusion engine for us to work with to help out going first here. However, I do still get to go into Mechaba, having to get rid of that Red Moon, and then Purple Nightfall coming down with that column that I created to go ahead and grab Blue Sky for next turn. And so far, a pretty standard turn, nothing too extravagant. Brilliant Fusion being gone does hinder plays a little bit, but the deck plays pretty much the same as it did without Brilliant Fusion, as, like, you know, the turns you'd have where you didn't open Brilliant Fusion. I know that doesn't sound too complicated, but like that's literally just it. And then what I put in place mainly was a Kaiju engine. I'm not sure the ratios at the moment. I've changed the Mech Knight engine a bit as well, added some more Mech Knights in, just sort of to fill in the void, make things a little more consistent. But overall, the build running very smooth, and especially with Slumber coming back to 3, being able to play multiple copies of Slumber definitely help out this deck a lot, in my opinion. So he is going to go ahead and start his turn by setting 1 and possibly trying to get started with some sort of Mech Knight play, maybe some Mathematician plays, or maybe we'll see a Shaddoll Fusion right off the bat, since I do have Invoked Mechaba on the field, although that could fall to a negation, that could fall to Ash, because I believe you can Ash Shaddoll Fusion if they send from deck. And at that point, I'm pretty sure it would force them to fuse from hand. I'm not entirely sure the interaction there. But either way, getting started by normal summoning Trick Clown and using Spellbook of Knowledge to tribute it away, because Spellbook of Knowledge can tribute any spellcast you control to get that draw 2 effect, or by discarding a Spellbook card from your hand. And that will, of course, activate the revival effect of Trick Clown summoning himself by taking 1,000 damage, dropping down to 7,000 already. Still has to worry about 1 negation, though, at this point. Possibly a set Called by the Grave, which I actually don't think it's a Called by the Grave. I think it might have been a Mind Control or something like that. I'm not entirely sure what the set card is. But now, checking through his extra deck, seeing what he wants to do next. Obviously, he could go right for Construct if he does have Shaddoll Fusion, and Construct can deal with Mechaba no problem. Just because in just damage type, he's just going to be able to run it over. There's real no issue there. So he's going to summon Purple Nightfall now in that column that I gave him. It's unfortunate, but both our decks do run Mech Knight, so if I have to go first, I have to, inherently create columns for myself. Things of that nature. Purple Nightfall comes down. I don't want him to get, a Mech Knight engine going for himself, so I decide to negate the Purple Nightfall effect, because at that point, if he does that, he's going to get Blue Sky, and then he's going to get Indigo Eclipse, and then he can start link climbing into things like Borrelsword, which are pretty scary. So I stopped that avenue of play right then and there. Then he's going to go ahead and activate Shaddoll Fusion, which I sort of was banking to hope that he didn't have, because there's really no way to search Shaddoll Fusion, unless, of course, you flip up a Shaddoll Hedgehog. But he's going to fuse from deck, sending the Damage Juggler and Shaddoll Squamata. Squamata is going to send Beast, and then Shaddoll Construct on summon is going to activate and send Shaddoll Falco to the grave. So that is Construct 2 and Squamata 1. Chainlinks resolve a bit weirdly there, but either way, everything resolves. Gets to draw. He gets to set Falco. Squamata gets to send, obviously. And then here afterwards, using the Damage Juggler to search the Hat Tricker, because I'm playing a small Perform Mage engine in here. 1 Trick Clown, 1 Hat Tricker, and 1 Damage Juggler. Was thinking about playing Nefarious, Archfiend, Eater of Nefariousness, and 1 Gigabyte perhaps, just for free special summons. I think that helps the deck out a lot for link climbing, so your 1 main Shaddoll Fusion doesn't take up your extra monster zone. Going into battle phase here, Construct just going to auto-kill Mechaba as you would expect. Nothing I can really do there. There's my Purple Nightfall coming back in the standby phase. Now he's got 2 set cards and 1 set Shaddoll Falco, and 1, of course, Construct that I'm going to have to deal with a different way than other than battle, which I guess wouldn't be too hard for Mech Knight to do in of itself. But the big problem with Shaddoll boards, I find, are they're not really negation heavy interaction wise. It's sort of like if you do anything to my field, you're sort of just stepping in quicksand. You know, if you clear my Fusion, I get a card back. If you flip up my Falco, I get a card back. If you destroy my Mathematician, I get a card back. If you destroy my, Wyvern Burster or Clap Serpent, I get another search. If you destroy Trick Clown, he comes back as well. There's just so much floating recurability that the main deck and, certain boards can offer. Just all around a different type of board than we're used to seeing nowadays. Of course, Shaddoll at its prime in 2014, 2015. It's been quite a while. You'll see I summon Blue Sky, attempt to get 2 searches, at least 1, but the Call by the Grave is going to say otherwise, and banishing my Blue Sky from grave. And of course, Jizakiro is going to go right over top of Construct, and this is like one of the main reasons why Construct can just come back to 2 or 3 at this point. Like, in this matchup, I was a lot more concerned with Construct than I felt I should have been, just because it's just, there's so many ways of removal nowadays that every deck has access to that Construct can just be dealt with. And I think that's one of the main reasons why I think it can come back. It's just the battle phase effect in of itself is just not as potent as it used to be. So he does Called by my Alistair here, so I'm forced to use my Alistair the Invoker of Madness link. Although I can still return the Alistair back to my hand with Invocation, and I was going to banish my Mech Knight Red Moon, but I just decided to banish this Construct from grave instead, because I feel like that would just be a more valuable hit than risk running into his Falco, and then Falco bringing back Construct and getting it set under the field. This was why, and again, I think this Mech Dolls, we're calling it Mech Chaos Dolls, it has a little room for R&R, R&D, I should say. Just some other tech cards I was thinking about playing, like Exodius, to return all your Shaddoll stuff back into the deck, and Construct included. You see Spellbook of Knowledge there, sending Secrets to the Grave to draw 2. And I actually don't play Blue Boy in this build because you main deck plenty of normal summonable spellcasters, so I figured just cutting out the middleman from Blue Boy is fine. And if you do open Secrets and Knowledge, you can just knowledge away the secrets, and you're good to go. You get your free double draw. And he's going to try and activate Falco there. I don't want him to get back Beast, because Beast is going to net him some more draws in the following turn, so I go ahead and burn the negation there. And then he's going to go right into Shaddoll Fusion for El Shaddoll Winda. I know he can't go into Construct again, so I'm not too worried about him bringing out Winda. He can't go into Shaq at the moment, because I believe all of his Earth targets may be exhausted at the time being. I believe the only other Earth in the main deck would be Hat Tricker, which he's already searched out at this point. So Winda hitting the board, he'll get to draw. Dragon hits a set Mind Control, and that I didn't get to use turn 1 of the following turns, because I didn't feel like I needed to Mind Control the Construct. Figured just getting rid of it with the Jizakiro would be fine either way. Could have Mind Controlled. I don't think it makes too big of a difference in this matchup, though. And then we see the Mech Knight Blue Sky grabbing 2 searches for, I believe, Red Moon and Yellow Star. And swinging with just a little bit of damage there. The Jizakiro running over the Mechaba, and then swinging with 22 and 2,000 from the Blue Sky. So I take a little bit of damage there, and not too big of a deal, though. And we're going to go into, I believe, my turn in just a moment. Yeah, draw for turn here. Purple Nightfall is going to return to the field, activating Mind Control, and I'm going to take back my Jizakiro at this point. And neither of those counted as a special summon, but I do want to just get Winda off the field because that will inhibit later special summon plays. Obviously, his Winda will add back a fusion when a Descent, And then Purple Nightfall effect is going to activate here. And I'm going to go ahead and grab Indigo Eclipse because I'm out of Blue Skies at this point. I'm only playing 2 Blue Sky and Mech Knight Invoked right now. And I think that's the way to go. I think 3 would just be way too much. I think because that card can brick. I think the only one you really want to play 3 is Purple Nightfall, and it's been that way for quite some time. Getting started here with his turn. The Mathematician still has that that Trick Clown on field that I didn't want to attack because he was just going to take a little more damage. And that would just bring back, you know, itself again, you know, after it already hit the grave. And it really doesn't do a whole lot. It still sort of sticks to the field. And then it lives another turn, and then it can just be brought back later. So, summons the Red Moon. He goes to activate the effect. There's a bit of a weird cut there. I do have Effect Veiler for it. So that gets negated. And then he's going to summon Wyvern Burster. And now has 4 monsters on the field. And going to link all of them away for Borrelsword Dragon. You know, get a search off of the Eclipse or the Wyvern Burster, which I believe he already did because we had to. There was a cut there, and I apologize for that, but I believe he already searched it previously, and I might have accidentally cut it out. So he does have the Collapse Serpent, goes into Perform Mage Trapeze Magician, which can target one of his monsters to basically attack twice, and then it gets destroyed during the end phase. He could target Borrelsword for just extra overkill, making an attack up to like possibly 3 times, 4 times. It's just insane. And you do need 2 spellcasters for that, so he does use the Hat Tricker and the Trick Clown. And with all these extra Mech Knights on board, just swarming the field as fast as possible, cuts into me with a lot of damage, turns the defense for the extra attack. Indigo Eclipse can attack twice because he targeted it with the Trapeze Magician, and just puts on like 18,000 damage right there, I believe. Just a lot of damage done in that turn alone. And yeah, this is one of the main reasons why I'm pretty excited for this Shaddoll deck, is just because, like, with Construct being back, it allows for a little more room of play. And it's just better because you get light targets to the grave, like you know, some of the Perform Mage stuff, Mech Knight stuff to set up plays. Overall, just really, really handy to begin with. So we'll see the Knowledge Ditching Secrets and going for a Shaddoll Fusion here. Now, another thing he could have done is Secrets for perhaps another Knowledge, and then he could normal summon Squamata, Knowledge that away. That would trigger Squamata's effect, sending Beast, and then he could have gotten possibly another draw there. But either way, the Shaddoll Fusion will get that Beast to the grave anyways, you know, via Squamata, and then Construct hitting the board to send Falco. So he does have that sort of Falco Beast setup ready for my turn. And I don't know what else he is going to do here. The only other thing that would really make this first turn a little bit better is possibly like a Purple Nightfall play or something of that nature. But I believe didn't open up too well to begin with this game here in Game 3. Or in Game 2, I should say. And just ending with the Construct and the set Falco. So there's really not a whole lot going on there. Just the Construct. 1 set card, possibly called by the grave, or an El Shaddoll Fusion. Could be a Super Poly. There are a lot of threats other than just called by the grave for this build. Super Polymerization could prove to be pretty brutal in this matchup. He could just literally take one of my Mechabas, and there's really nothing I can do about it, because, you know, Super Poly, spell speed 4. Can't do anything in response to it. So Terraforming goes to get Magical Meltdown, and Magical Meltdown, of course, is going to grab Alistair the Invoker, and I'm going to have to get started here with possibly a, looks like, okay, Kumungus. Instead, I thought I was going to go for the Alistair play first, but Kumungus comes down, and that is going to get rid of the Construct. He'll get to add back Shaddoll Fusion, so he basically does have a Foolish Burial on steroids next turn. Now, I believe he has a response afterwards here. He's going to flip up El Shaddoll Fusion to get rid of Falco and Squamata, and he's going to Fusion for Winda. Now, I'm not exactly sure how this would have worked, but if he technically could have chained the summon of Kumungus, if that would have been able to count towards my only special summon for that turn. I'm not sure it worked out like that. He does send Beast off the Squamata. I do have the Ash Blossom for that. I believe I drew into Ash Blossom for turn, which is pretty rough. Having that the previous turn would have been really, really nice to have. But again, I'm not really sure how the interaction there plays out. If that would just been my one special summon, if he changed it to the summon of Kumungus, change to go into Winda, if it would count that as the one special summon. Because at that point I wouldn't be able to get this purple Nightfall on field, and that's my fault if I played it incorrectly, because I just wasn't sure to begin with. Neither of us were really. So I just summoned Nightfall. I have to go into battle phase immediately though for me to even bother continuing any of my plays. And then Nightfall in main phase 2 banishes itself for Blue Sky, and then Blue Sky searches out Indigo, going right into Aleister the Invoker of Madness, flipping up Invocation. Gonna banish Blue Sky and Aleister, of course, for the summon of Invoked Mechaba, and then using that Invocation effect, all in main phase 2 here, to go ahead and recycle Invocation back to the deck, and recycling Aleister from the banishment zone back to my hand. Now, it is unfortunate that I had to waste my battle phase for that, because I could have cleared the rest of his stuff, possibly gotten around the Falco via negation. But at this point, I'm going to, on the summon of Mechaba, I know I do it a little bit late, discard the Red Moon to go ahead and grab the Book of the Law, because I'm still playing that card, because there's some really nice interaction with that card lately, and it's just really nice to have. Falco flips up, he grabs Beast out of grave and sets that. He could go into a level 9 Synchro right now, which is one thing I still haven't really figured out for the extra deck for the Shaddoll deck, is figuring out how I want to play out the extra deck. I do want to play Synchros in there, because Falco does create Synchro plays. Just for example, level 9 you can go into right now would just be the, I can't think of its name, but the one that banishes a tuner to destroy something on your opponent's side of the field. I can't think of its name right now. I don't know why I can't think of the name. The name escapes me. I don't know why. But either way, the El Shaddoll fusion now getting activated to get rid of the Kumungus, because I've just given him an Earth target, to go right into Shek. And Falco will not be able to come back, because he already uses his flip effect, and a little bit unfortunate, but not too big of a deal overall. But Shek does pose a bit of a threat, because if I do try to negate anything with Mechaba, he could possibly chain in response to discard a Shaddoll to negate the effect of Mechaba. But I do have a Book of Law set, so that could possibly tag into Raijin, which I am still playing at this point, because I think it's really, really good to play still. Either way, just going to go into battle phase here, and swing in for, I believe, 800 over top of Aleister the Invoker of Madness. And I think that might end his turn there. You know, he could have potentially left the Shek in defense, not even bothered with the battle phase. The biggest threat for his Shek at the point right now would be basically the fact that I have a Aleister in hand, or just a way to boost over the Shek if I need to, because I think I had 2 Aleister in hand at that point. So with a Mind Control in hand at that point, he's just going to scoop, because I do have a ton of advantage going into that next turn. Shek really doesn't have too much of a say in how my turn is going to play out anyways, so we just go ahead and go right into game 3. 1 game apiece. He's going to go second to get started. I get started, of course, with the normal Aleister play into Mechaba. Nothing too fancy here. Just getting my 1 fusion on the board, my 1 negation, and recycling Invocation back into the deck to get back my Aleister. And I don't think there's too much else I can do. The only thing the Brilliant Fusion really would add to this sort of play would just be able to get into, you know, Aleister the Invoker of Madness a lot easier, to be able to get that extra search of the Book of the Law, you know, here at the start of the turn, or possibly another Invocation to get a double Mechaba. That was one of the things that I really, really loved the most about the Brilliant Fusion. You know, double normal summon of Mechaba, or not Mechaba, Aleister the Invoker, to get the 2 Invocation searches, easy first turn access to things like, you know, Invoker of Madness. That's why it's playing the 1 of Hornet Drones is still so crucial, because that is a 1 card Alistair the Invoker of Madness, and I think it's still so important to play. He's going to go ahead and get started with Mathematician. Mathematician is going just to send Beast right away to go ahead and net 1 draw. Could have sent Squamata first, but rather not risk an Ash Blossom, just wasting a Squamata, and just go ahead and go straight for Beast. Not sort of a take any chances, if you will. But has 1 Mathematician right now. Needs probably a Shaddoll Fusion to make this turn really good. But I don't believe he had access to really any Shaddoll cards to get this turn started. So he's forced to go into a Link 3 right off the bat. And it's going to be Nightmare Unicorn. And he will get the effect of a Wyvern Burster to search the Collapse Serpent. He's going to use Nightmare Unicorn as well. So Wyvern Burster 1, Nightmare Unicorn 2. Maybe he's going to discard Blue Sky for the effect of Nightmare Unicorn. And I do negate it by discarding the Gamma Seal that I had in my hand, one of the pieces of the Kaiju engine. Now, like, I think this is just an unlucky hand. Did not see any Shaddoll cards. Playing quite a big Shaddoll engine in this deck, as you might imagine, since it is mainly a Shaddoll deck with a Mech Knight and Chaos engine. I didn't see any fusions, didn't see any Shaddolls, just seeing some floaty cards. Going into Mech Knight of the Morningstar to sort of fend off battle damage. Sorry for that cut there as well. Had to cut out some thinking time, if you will. But just going right into Morningstar, no effect. Although I do play World Legacy Succession in here because it can help to bring cards back like Construct and Shack, mainly just your fusions that you can just use to link away and then just get back with Morningstar via Succession. But I get my turn started here with Alistair. Now, normally this Morningstar would be a sort of a decent problem to have to deal with because I can't do any damage to it or destroy by battle unless I'm in the same column as it, so Mechaba has no say there. But Mind Control comes down, I take that Morningstar, and I believe he has a set called by the Grave though, so it really isn't as bad as you know, his position that he thinks he's in. I have to grab a Boral Sword. We're sharing sort of extra decks here, if you will. Both decks would play Boral Sword, but I only own 1 Boral Sword, so I had to borrow it real fast. Boral Sword getting summoned, activating Invocation. Called by going to be played in return, of course, to banish it, because why wouldn't you at this point? So my Invocation fizzles. There's really no Boral Sword OTK I'm able to do there, and he gets basically another turn, which is better than being killed right there via Boral Sword and Mechaba. Top decks the Mathematician, and I have Ash Blossom, so that's really all that is going to happen there. Unfortunate. Brick hand at the end. They're sort of doing him in there in game 3. But what do you guys think? I think this is a pretty decent build I was able to throw together. I think it does have some potential, room for some changes to be made. I'm going to be testing it out a lot over the course of the week. I'll get a profile up if you guys want to see it, and I'll probably be testing it on stream as well. So hope you guys enjoyed. Leave a like if you did. As always, Winterkill signing out. We'll see you in the next one.